Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all suitably refreshed after that break. And we're moving on with part 2 of the Rump session. We have something rather special to kick things off. We have some practical cryptanalysis. And I think it's Daniel and Lev that are doing the presentation. Thanks, guys. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm senior chef Daniel Genkin, and this is my sous chef Lev Pachmanov. And this is joint work with Itamar Pipman, Eran Tromer, and Yuval Yarom, and our title is Latos-based cryptoanalysis. Now, who we are the Crypto 2016 Food Services team. Okay, so when it comes to side channel attacks, over the past 20 years of research, we've shown that this is a very powerful tool in extracting secret cryptographic keys from computational devices. And we typically mount these attacks on what I call small devices, smart cards, SIM cards, FPGA, embedded microcontrollers. And what do these devices have in common? Well, they're quite slow. The best of them run at around 100 megahertz. They're simple. It's basically one chip doing crypto when we ask it to nicely. It doesn't use a lot of energy, and they're highly mobile. Well, and indeed, in terms of attacks, here's just one example. We have a card reader here, a card stuck in it, and the card reader has been augmented with suitable technology in order to monitor the card's power consumption, and from that deduce the key. Now, only recently, we started exploring what I call big devices, basically laptops, desktops, server computers, and these, in many respects, are the complete opposite when it comes to compared to small devices. They run very complex CPUs, around 1 gigahertz. They're highly complex, billions of transistors, thousands of individual components. They use relatively a lot of energy, but they're relatively static. And in terms of side channel analysis, well, here's another example. This is an antenna picking up the electromagnetic radiation of that laptop and extracting the key. Now, in between these two family of targets, we are actually missing what I call mobile devices, laptop, tablets, phones. And these, when it comes to side channel analysis, are the worst of both worlds. They're fast and complex. It's basically the same CPUs that we were putting in our laptops 2 years ago, we now put in our pockets. And on the other hand, they don't use a lot of energy, and they're highly mobile. And little is known about side channel analysis for these devices. Now, another very important research topic that we've been tackling recently is key extraction via common food items. And for example, last year we showed you that a common pita can hold enough equipment in order to steal someone's encryption key. Another work that you've seen here is key extraction by sausage, or simulating a human touch, where touching someone's laptop might compromise his key. Now, this is very nice, but unfortunately, the common ingredients for the hamburger, in addition to bread and meat, also include vegetables. And very little is known about the key extraction properties of vegetables. So basically, the main question that we ask are how vulnerable are mobile devices to non-intrusive side channel analysis using common vegetables? And let me go over quickly our results, where we show that real-world ECDSA keys can be extracted from mobile phones over various popular implementations, OpenSSL, Apple's Common Crypto, Core Bitcoin, the best and the brightest here. This is applicable to various phones of many models and make, both Android and iOS devices. And some of these attacks are still applicable despite our responsible disclosure, but some vendors actually bother deploying countermeasures. So please do try that at home. And now we're going to give a demo about how to construct an iLatos device for attacking an iPhone. And now I'm going to switch over to my sous chef Lev, who is going to show you how to construct an iLatos device.
So here is our iLatos device. And as a lot of fresh vegetables, it has bugs inside it. So at the bottom here, we have this antenna. And it's connected to a software-defined radio, and then to a small Android device, which will transmit the signal to this attacking station. Then I'm going to place this iLatos on this iPhone device, which runs ECDSA encryptions. And then, thanks, just a second, magic will appear. And after placing this properly, with some technical
delays. Come on. Put the Latos on the phone. Oh, here we go. You immediately see that iLatos picked up a whole bunch of signals coming in from the iPhone. Now, if I were to take Lev's signal, which looks something like this, and each of these individual bright green lines is one ECDSA operation, if I were to demodulate it, then I would have got something like this, a really ugly trace. Now, cleaning this up a bit reveals more information, and we see here the sequence of double and add operations performed by the ECDSA signature algorithm. Now, the unfortunate part about ECDSA is that ECDSA is extremely vulnerable to even partial leakage about its secret nodes. And after obtaining data from around 5,000 signatures, using the iLattice device, where we plug in the information about the double-edged secrets into a lattice, and from that, using an SVP solver, we are able to extract the key. So the take-home message from this is that many real-world ECDSA implementations are vulnerable to a lattice plus lattice attacks. And if you want to hear more, here's a dedicated link for a website. The paper will appear in the upcoming CCS. And I should also mention the related work by Belgarek et al. That studies different implementations running on Android. OK, thank you. And now I'll take questions. Switch.
Thank you.
Okay, better.
Yeah, you're done. OK, moving on. Next on is Marud Sairafi, and next up will be Goraj Aj. So if Gora could make his or her way to the stage, that would be most appreciated. We're just going to take a moment here till these guys remove their vegetables from the stage.
Kenny, did you realize?
Closer.
Did you realize that so Eike now has won 4 Eurocrypt Best Paper Awards?
Who?
Eike Kieltz has won. Eike Kieltz.
Oh, Eike Kieltz.
Eike
Oh, yeah.
Kieltz. 4 different Eurocrypts. So at 4 different events, he won a Best Paper Award, effectively a gold medal.
That's a record.
Does this make Michael Phelps the Eike Kieltz of swimming?
I don't know, but what I can tell you is that some guy called Kenny won his 6th gold medal today on the Olympic track cycling. So there's a lot to be proud of for people called Kenny. Thank you, thank you. 6 gold medals, that's Britain for you. We're good at cycling.
So I think we're ready for the next speaker.
So let's move on. Welcome to the stage. Marud, take it away.
Hello, I have just one slide, so I don't have any need for that. Yeah, welcome to Transition. Thank you, no need to applaud. Folks, when NSA sends you its people, they're not sending you their best people. They're not sending you. They're sending bad standards. They're sending keyscrow. They're sending dual EC. They're sending backdoors. That is why we're going to kick out all illegal NSA attendees starting next year. In addition to that, I'm calling for a total and complete shutdown of cryptanalysts from entering this conference. By the way, I love government people, and government people love me. A lot of government people work for me, and we have great relationships. My poll numbers are through the roof between 3-letter agencies. Trust me, believe me. And you know why that is? That's because when it comes to key exchange agreements, they're the worst. Diffie-Hellman is the worst. Stealing our keys. Instead, we should be building a paywall. Nobody builds walls better than me, believe me, folks. We're going to build a paywall on IACR and make them pay for it. It's going to work great, believe me. Speaking of which, have you heard of this Kraykov's principle? Let me tell you, I'm very, very highly educated. I have very good advisors. I have a very high IQ. Don't feel bad. I know math. I have the best numbers. You know, I know codes. I know the shift cipher. And believe me, just don't tell people what code you're using, and you're safe. Just go with like DES, ECB with MD5 or something. So yeah, we're going to repeal that principle, and then it's going to be great. And quantum computers are a hoax. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have a paper which has absolutely no Olympic theming in it whatsoever, as far as I can tell. So feel free to boo all the way through this presentation, folks. OK, take it away. And next up is Sandro. Sandro, come to the stage, please.
Yeah. This is a work on the discrete log problem in pairing-based cryptography that uses characteristic tree finite fields. And this is a work done by all these people. Sorry, I won't have time to enumerate all of them. So let's go. For characteristic tree bilinear pairings, what we need is two groups, cyclic groups. And the first one is G, where G is an order R subgroup of the one of the two supersingular curves defined by these equations N and R prime numbers. And GT is a orders R subgroup of the extension field F3 to the 6 times N. And for a pairing on G and GT is a mapping that sends 2 points of G to one element in GT, and that is non-degenerate, bilinear, and for cryptographic purpose, we need it to be efficiently computable. Now, with respect to the Diffie-Hellman, and for security reason, we need the discrete log problem to be had in G and also in GT because of the MOV attack, which was the first to use pairings in cryptology. Now, if you see all these, they can be used in many protocols, including the identity-based Diffie-Hellman of Sakai, Hogishi, Kasahara, the tripartite Diffie-Hellman of Zhu, the identity-based encryption of Bonnet-Franklin, and the short signatures of Bonnelin-Sacham. There are many others. And these protocols can be used in cryptography with very efficient implementations that was done, for example, for the level of security to 66-bit. Then for that, then Bonnelin-Sacham, Galbraith, Harrison, Soldera, Barreto, Kim Lin presented some implementations on the 97 extension, and for the level of security 2 to the 80, you have also Bonnelin-Sacham, Galbraith, Harrison, Soldera, Granger-Page-Stam for the degree extension 163, and for the so famous level of security 129-bit of security, you have Amadi, Enkersen, and Menezes who proposed in 2007 this the 509 extension, also implemented by Bashar et al. And for cryptanalytically, the guys Shimohayashi, Shinohara, Itakeji in 2012 presented a break of that field of 97 extension degree in this amount of time, which is just amazing. And they were using the Joule-Lercier algorithm. And for the extension 163, we used the 2013's breakthroughs algorithms and could break the much more field of size of extension 163 in compared to the first one. It's just 1,000 times less in time. And 1 month ago, what we broke is the 129-bit level of security that uses the Joux-Pierrot algorithm with representation of and descent of Granger-Klein-Yun Zumbrayel in 222 or 23 core years. And we have some estimations for a higher level, which is of number of bits 192. And here, what we use which is new here, is the Gilevix descent. And we estimate to break this field, we estimate the time that we have to run the algorithm like this. So for more details about this work, just see my PhD thesis. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you survived the taser. Well done. Okay, next up we have Sandro Caretti talking about the archives of the IOC, and next after that will be Shinichiro Matsuo. So if Matsuo-san could make his way to the stage, that would be most welcome. Go ahead.
So, as some of you probably know, I'm Swiss, and that comes with some advantages. So, for one, we have beautiful mountains, as opposed to the Austrians, we have a plus in our flag. We get free fondue all the time, recognizable passport, and we get free access to the archives of the International Olympic Committee. And as it so happens, just before this conference, I went down there to Lausanne, and I had a look at what kind of interesting documents they have there. So I found a number of very curious reports. So here's the first one written by some guy called Brazilian Zika virus protection for Olympians. I tried to read it. It had some interesting stuff in it. I couldn't really figure it out. So I went to the next report, which was written by Ulrich Maurer. I hope I got that right. I also tried to read that. It was quite abstract, so I'm not sure I could follow everything. Yeah, so anyway, don't worry about me. I'm at NYU now, so it's okay. Anyway, I also found this by Eugene Dudis. A very interesting report on life lessons. I looked into it, so here's like part of the table of contents. So it's like chapter 15 is like my favorite sayings. Then here is how I get postdocs to run around with silly amounts of shrimp. And I don't know, tennis essentials. So, okay, so if you didn't get the shrimp jokes, so it's like I came here on Sunday, I was hanging out at the dinner, and then I got this message on my phone. It's like, it's at, So yeah, we tried to please, and so I got this ball, and then somebody from UCSB took the ball away from me, so it was quite a mission. Anyway, seems whoever wrote this to me was very happy, and but then, you know, see you in the morning. It's like I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So all right, so yeah, I'm really running out of job options here. So anyway, after some time, I decided to put the shrimps in a fridge, and turns out that I just checked before, and they were still there. So it's like, I mean. So yeah, so some people are suggesting I auction them off. So if you feel like contributing another $384 times $27 to British museums, we can do that later. Anyway, another report was by this guy Hans Garay, who reflects on UC, and he looked at, you know, what asynchronous communication looks like in UC. So if Alice tries to send shrimps to Bob, it turns out in UC, the adversary might eat all of them. And what we're really interested in is that all the shrimps get eventually delivered and none of them are eaten. So I don't want to explain this anymore. It's like, but you can do it by, having the adversary specify some delay that for some strange reason he has to do in unary. So anyway, let's just skip that. and go to the next report. So this guy, Martin Hurt, he actually, in his report, there's a constant round asynchronous MPC protocol, which is used to secure against an adaptive adversary that corrupts up to 1/3 of the players. It's obviously constant round and makes black box use of one-way functions. So let's skip that. If you're interested, you can read the print report. And I thought that instead of having an acknowledgement slide, I put up apologies to all the people.
Thanks, that was great. So next up is Shinichiro Matsuo, and Chris Piker could make his way to the stage, please. Over to you.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me? Okay. So. Okay, so my talk is not a joke. So today I would like to introduce new Olympic games for Bitcoin and blockchain. Okay, so let me think about team sports. Team sport is a collaboration between us to distribute autonomous entry, and so in general, so there's a clear consensus rules to play game, and so to win, so you need well-organized strategy, tactics, and team members with diverse strengths. I think that IACR is a good team. And so over 30 years of history of the crypt is a good Olympic game in this world. I think that recently we have many problems about the TLS, but thank you Kenny Patterson. So with your help, I think that the TLS protocol becomes so mature. Thank you. But in the case of Bitcoin blockchain, I think that this is not mature enough. But we have many things to do the research. So we back to the original word of the Olympic spirits, CITES, authorities, forties, and outlet as security details. So we had serious cases, the DAO, so the Ethereum, this is the Ethereum-based project, had a chance to raise over $50 million. And after that DAO cases, we need more secure blockchain technology for all aspects. Blockchain technology for aspects of blockchain. And so we have many athletic events in this technology. So blockchain is a correct of the network technology, consensus algorithms, cryptography, and applications for any other business logic included in. And we need many researches on it. And so we are now building a new Olympic stadium for blockchain technologies. This is called BSafe.network. And so we are now building a neutral, stable, and sustainable research test network. This is like NSF net for the internet technology. And so this is produced by the international universities, and each university becomes a blockchain node and do research on blockchain and its application. It is not limited to security. And so we already have several nodes from United States, United Kingdom, and Japan, and we are now adding more nodes. And we encourage you to join this new research testnet. And the next match of this Olympic game is a Scaling Bitcoin workshop. This will be held in October 8th and 9th at Milan, Italy. And submission deadline is September 2nd. And so we encourage to submit the new attacks on Bitcoin and blockchain. Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Next up, Chris Piker, and beyond Chris will be Sandra Diaz-Santiago, if she's here. Great, good to see you. Chris, take it away.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, good. Okay, so just announcing challenges for learning with errors. over rings. That was a freebie. I'm going to have to work a little harder for the rest of the jokes. But this is by my student, Eric Crockett, who unfortunately couldn't be here this week, and me. So real quickly, ring LWE, learning with errors over rings. Informally, the problem is in the search version to find a hidden secret ring element given many noisy products with that element. So you see these crypto talks with AI, comma BI, and B is S times AI, but with a little bit of noise added to it, okay? And then the decision version is similar. It's like distinguish such noisy ring products from just uniformly random ring elements, okay? So these are the problems that we're using. So, but formally, you have to define this stuff. An instantiation of ring LWE is given by specifying a ring, a modulus, an error distribution, maybe even a number of samples that the adversary has. And then once you fix these things, you have a proper ring LWE problem and instantiation. So this is an attractive post-quantum candidate for several reasons. One is that we have supporting asymptotic worst-case hardness proofs related to ideal lattices in the ring. Recently, there have been many experimental real-world deployments that Tor is considering it. Google actually has deployed it in an experimental capacity on its Canary version of Chrome. And what they found is it's pretty fast, so it's good. Now, there's one thing we have to notice, that these practical instantiations do not use the kinds of parameters that are supported by the worst-case hardness proofs. They're instead supported by cryptanalysis, because what we've noticed over many years is that these instantiations seem to be hard even if you use slightly smaller error than recommended, or even much smaller error than the theorems ask for. If you make it too small, then the problem becomes easy. But there's kind of a no man's land here, which is not covered by the theorems yet, may never be, but also cryptanalysis can't seem to break it given the efforts so far. So in order to further develop more confidence in these kinds of problems, we're announcing the ring LWE challenges. So these are challenges for 516 instantiations of search ring LWE and the related problem learning with rounding over cyclotomic rings, which are the most commonly proposed and implemented versions. Doing decision challenges is tricky for reasons that you can read in the paper. But we give a wide variety of instantiations, ranging from toy, which you should be able to break in maybe under a minute on your laptop once you get things working, to easy, which should be breakable probably in a month or a couple months, to very hard. So there's a whole variety of things. If you think you can get some lever into any of these things, there's probably an instance out there for you that you can try to attack. Power of 2 cyclotomics, powers of 3, powers of 5, powers of 2 times powers of 5, primordial cyclotomics, that's the one on the last, moderately sized primes, anything you like. Errors of various widths, ranging from Trenta, which is what the worst case hardness theorems for ring LWE ask for, to Grande, which is like what LWE theorems ask for, to tall, which is what is typically used in practice, to short, which is like pretty aggressively short. I would think pretty risky. Moduli of different forms, et cetera, different number of samples. Okay, so a core issue in developing challenges, publishing challenges for problems like ring LWE, is that a dishonest challenger could publish challenges which are too hard or even impossible to solve simply by adding a whole bunch of error or just putting out random junk. And no one would be the wiser. They'd never be able to detect it, and the challenger would say, aha, this is a hard problem, no one's ever solved it, okay? So this is different from factoring and discrete log, where if you pick unbalanced primes or something, you're just making it easier for the attacker. So there's a way to be dishonest, and if you're dishonest, it makes the cryptanalyst angry, and you wouldn't like him when he's angry. So how do we know the challenges are properly generated? Well, the answer is simple. But this is actually the implicit answer given by prior challenges, for example, the entry challenges in LWE and multivariate quadratic challenges. So if, like Michaela Moroni, you are not so impressed with that answer, we have a better one. A non-interactive verifiable cut and choose protocol, which works like this. For each instantiation, all 516 of them, we've actually generated 32 instances, and we've bundled them all up into an archive, which you can download right now on BitTorrent. So this stage is complete. Now tomorrow, around noon, the NIST randomness beacon will tell us which instances to be the official ones, and we will then spoil the rest by revealing their secrets and the pseudorandom generator seeds that we use to produce them. Okay? That will happen on Friday because I have to get home, okay? So we're going to post these on Friday, and then anyone can verify that the spoiled instances look good, their errors are small enough, and the PRG seed actually generates the exact instance that we put out, which should give you confidence that the official ones are also good, because if they weren't good, we'd have a pretty good chance of being caught and caught cheating. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There's a website which has paper, links, instructions on how to verify things and so forth. Long URL, short URL, take a picture. Since this is my only chance to stand in front of you and announce these things, the challenge archive has this SHA-256 hash, and it was timestamped on the blockchain on October 14th, which is like several days before the NIST beacon, so no shenanigans there. Okay, and for our protection, we're signing all the archives under the PGP key with this ID, but don't use the ID because they're easy to fake. Make sure it has this fingerprint. Okay, good, get cracking.
Okay, John Kelsey, if you're in the room, it's going to be your turn soon. Hey, John. Okay, and next up, it's one of this group of authors. I guess Gina is the speaker? No? Okay, introduce yourself and go ahead. Thanks.
Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to tell you a tale about the Crypto Olympic Games. And I would like to mention that the authors of this metaphorical tale are Gina Gallegos Garcia, Lil Maria Rodriguez Enriquez, Nareli Cruz Cortez, and me, Sandra Diaz Santiago. And we have a little help of this artist, Andres Cortez Davalos, an artist losing in a cryptographic conference. So let's start. A long time ago, the cryptographic game was a question of life or death. So unfortunately, sometimes history has not been fair. So we know that until 2013, Alan Turing granted a posthumous pardon by the Queen, and was until 2015 that these women obtained some recognition for his work in the contribution during World War II. So luckily for us, 20 years later, cryptographic games not so dangerous. So now some new disciplines appear, as you can see here. So here we have the top greatest crypto athletes. So maybe we are missing something. We apologize for that. So we have, we have probable wrestling, post-quantum volleyball beach, bile archery. So also we have some statistics. So here we can see all the cryptographic conference, as you know. So the winner in these conferences are Crypto with 36 editions. And then we have Eurocrypt with 35, then AsiaCrypt with 22, IndoCrypt, AfricaCrypt, and LatinCrypt just with three editions by now. So what are we doing in the meantime in Latin America? So we are already trying to do our best effort. So, but as we can see, we need to do a lot of work now. So I take this opportunity to introduce to this group of girls. We are 4 girls, criptógrafas latinoamericanas from Instituto Politécnico Nacional. So we are trying to make a difference by girl power. So if you want to know more about us, you can see our webpage, our email, and also our Facebook. So thank you.
Okay, so please, Ivo, get ready. Next up is John Kelsey, who will be representing Belgium.
Apparently so. Well, we've outsourced our development of crypto standards to Belgium, haven't we told you? So I'm going to talk about the hash function pentathlon. So a little history here. If you know, the modern pentathlon in the Olympics is supposed to be sort of roughly based on the 5 events that that would capture what a 19th century soldier should know. So there's like fencing to capture sword fighting, and there's a shooting event and a horseback riding and a couple other events. So I want to talk about an event that's really important. It's the modern hash function pentathlon, right? So if you have a hash function or something that does stuff like a hash function does, you actually would like to do a lot of things with it. So fixed length hashing, that's what everything does. SHA-2, MD5, everybody did fixed length hashing. Also, with the shakes in FIPS 202, you see variable length hashing. So you can generate as many bits as you need from the output. But there are also a bunch of other things you might like to do, like keyed hashing, like HMAC. But you can do that more efficiently. Or a fast parallel hash, where if you have a huge, long message, you can take advantage of parallelism to hash the thing and get an answer fast. Also, hashing is tuple of strings. So if you have 5 strings as your input, you don't just concatenate them and do the wrong thing. The hash function actually does the right thing for you, makes it kind of a parsable encoding. So those are our events. So the contestant is Ketchak, which actually we selected as the SHA-3 winner and put into FIPS 202. And so we have 2 of these things in FIPS 202. The fixed length and variable length hashing are already defined in FIPS 202. But we didn't have good ways to take Ketchak and make him do these other things yet. You kind of do it with other constructions, but it's nice to have something specified. So we have a new draft, SP 800-185, and this specifies 4 new functions, okay? First function is called C-shake. It's shake, it's the same, it's a variable length hash function, so just like a hash function, but you can ask for as many bits output as you want. But it has this extra advantage that it has a customization string. So you can, this lets you do something a little bit like strong typing for a hash function. You can say what it's for. That may or may not be useful. It's not clear exactly how to use that in protocols, but it's at least something that maybe will make the world a better place. We also have KMAC for keyed hashes, does the scheme that was defined originally for Ketchak for keyed hashing. We also have a fast parallel hashing scheme that lets you take advantage of parallelism. And we have a tuple hash that encodes the strings for you in a parsable way and does everything right. So this is all in this new draft of 800-185. So all of these functions have these properties, domain separation from each other and from all the SHA-3s. They have support for user-selected customization strings. They have variable length output. You can use them as a Zoff, which means you don't even have to know how many output bits you need when you start drawing outputs from them. So hopefully this is useful. This is right now out for public comment. I think deadline is September 30th, and you can see the email address, you can see the URL. Please look at this document. Tell us what you think. If you think it's good, you think it's bad, whatever. We'd like to hear from you. And that's everything. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so Moti, please get ready. And next up is somebody who is actually Belgian, namely Ivo Desmet.
So at the Rump session at Eurocrypt, they called it the Trump session. And what we saw is that Trump was actually doing weightlifting. And what was he actually trying to lift? Yeah, amazingly, he was trying to lift ISCR, okay? So this is not what I drew, and I'm thankful to basically the organizer of the Trump session at Eurocrypt who made that slide. And so basically it says, making cryptography great again. So what about having Clinton again? So what will it mean for us? Okay, because we only care about ourselves. And something may be unexpected. So can you expect the same again? So in our field, that means key escrow again. Are you ready? I am. Are you? The FBI, they are ready, okay? So August 5th, the FBI said that basically the agency is collecting data and that will be presenting it next year, after Clinton wins, for sure, in hopes of sparking a national conversation about law enforcement, okay? So you be better ready. What about Clinton and research? What about that? Will it dramatically change? Why would it? Maybe. So I think there will be lots of money for research on obfuscation. You understood the point. Why? because it means an obfuscated government is just great, okay? We no longer know how it works, it no longer know what it does. But what if people complain? You remember the invited talk yesterday? If things don't work, blame the cryptographers. So if you don't like obfuscated government, you just blame the cryptographers. Is there a solution? You know, Putin hacked the Clinton campaign and made big news. So can Putin help this time? And I'm not going to put a picture of Putin here. Unfortunately, the answer is no, they don't have the technology, okay? So they will not be able to help this time. So the question is then, who the heck has the technology? Amazingly, the Koreans do have the technology. For those of you who were at Eurocrypt 2015, they were breaking basically these multilinear maps, okay? So who do we have to ask? Yeah, the Koreans.
Thank you. So Alison, please get ready. And first up, right now, is Mote Jung.
Okay, so I didn't find this in the Olympics. I really looked very hard, and I don't know what happened, you know, so it was hacked. So, but with the time that I have to speed. So, okay, so I'm going to talk about destroying subliminal channels. And subliminal channels are the subject of that I called kleptography at the time, 20 years ago. And these are hacked implementations. And, you know, they are subtle. And at the time, they were kind of theoretical, but then this lattice came and told us that actually they are being used. And now I call the attacks on kleptography, kleptography, clipping the power of the attacker. And many people work on it. There are many defending mechanisms that are coming up, combining architectural assumptions and crypto. Very few functionalities being considered. There's no agreement on the model. There are various models. As I said, architectures are involved, and it seems complicated and to do. Black box reductions can fail. So the state of the art, there are mechanisms that assume that the key generation is honest and use deterministic encryption because randomization is the source of subliminal channels and so on. Decryptability assumption in which the checker knows how to decrypt, or assuming trusted re-randomizers. So there are various trust assumptions, and you know the cats or the lattices don't like it. So the question that we ask is, can we achieve standard CPA security for public key encryption without these extra trust assumptions? And on the way, the big hurdle is to destroy the subliminal channels. There is a model, there's adversary, there's the watchdog, there's the user who is, the adversary controls all the component and tries to subvert the system. So of course, we need a technique to do it, and the technique that we suggest is decompose and amalgamate, you know, it's essentially a modular design. Break the system into pieces, and a new functionality of this. You know, we know it's good for software engineering, for testing, but now it will be good for testing by the watchdog against subversion. So this is so systems like this, when the randomness is fed into the key generations, are bad. We don't know how to do it. even if we put a random oracle in the middle and there is still subversion, this is kind of known. They still exist, the subliminal channels. So we decompose into the component, and this enables the watchdog to test each component by itself. And it's kind of, we have a combination of combining the randomness, that's in a nutshell, and also testing the component a la program checking methods, okay? So this gives the result, stego-free randomness generation, key generation, and encryption. And thank you very much.
Thank you. So for those standing over there are still a few free seats here in the front, and then you will be able to enjoy Allison's talk, and she will have a little help from her friends. So Allison, please take it away.
Thanks. So I've been thinking a lot this year about these conversations we've been having in our community about the divide between theory and practice. And I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis about this, because it seems to me that applied people have more fun. They get to be measured on cool metrics like speed, participate in things like breaking things, whereas theory is a much more esoteric sport. It's more subtle and more subjective and measured in vague terms like gold and silver holy grails. So I've been thinking about what to do about this, and considering the ways that theorists have tried to address this divide in the past. We've tried ignoring the problem. We've tried absorbing the problem into a theoretical model. We've tried ignoring the problem some more when that theoretical model doesn't seem to capture everything. So really, it seems like we've tried everything. So I'm here to suggest a new path forward for theory in integrating with practice. And so the new sport that we'd like to propose is conversion. If we simply convert all the cryptanalysts to be theorists, our assumptions will be safe forever. So the New York area cryptographers would like to give you a demonstration of what this would look like today. So I'd like to thank Nadia Henninger to be our first volunteer of a cryptanalyst to potentially be converted. All right, so this is going to be tough, so bear with me.
Ever since I was a child, I tried to be the best, so it happened. My family and friends all said I was blessed, so it happened. It was supposed to be all so exciting, teaching crypto at university. But I allowed my faith to be shaken. Oh, what's the matter with me? I've always longed to prove the impossible, to encrypt things no one ever dared. This was the time for me to step up, so then why was I so scared? A hacker who factors public keys. What's so scary about that? I must trust that my math is mightier and always has my back. Now I must be completely devout. I can't have even one shred of doubt. I believe that the Lord God created a universe in which P is not equal to NP. And I believe LWE can survive quantum computers. I am a theorist, and a theorist just believes. I know that I must go and do the things first who just believes. And now I can feel the excitement. This is the thing I was born to do. And I feel so incredible to be sharing my faith with you. Knowledge of exponent says that if you ask in faith, the attacker itself will know. But you must assume without any doubt and let your theorems grow. I believe generic groups mean something. I believe Q-type assumptions aren't so bad. I believe the Garden of Eden was discovered by Monet and Franklin. If you believe the code can't reveal it, obfuscation is real, you'll just feel it. The appearance, my gosh, appearance just believe.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job.
So on that bombshell, we're going to have a break. So we're going to start 5 minutes early, so 10:05, to give Nigel another opportunity to try to hire postdocs to talk about real-world crypto. So see you all at 10:05.